shapes Indian cricket with distinction. As one of the most celebrated fast-medium bowlers, he played a pivotal role in India's historic 1996 Cricket World Cup champion and was known for his competitive discipline, analytical acumen, and fighting spirit both on and off the field.
So, Dr. Venkatesh Prasad, I am sure many of them might be wondering why I'm calling you Dr. Venkatesh Prasad. So, I must tell everyone, Mr. Venkatesh Prasad, the cricketer that we know, is not just Mr. Venkatesh Prasad, he's a doctorate. He's earned his honorary doctorate recently. So, let us give him one big round of applause for that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So, Dr. Venkatesh Prasad, first of all, a very, very hearty welcome to GIBS Business School.
Thank you.
We are truly privileged and honored to have you amongst us.
Likewise.
And I'm sure all the audience that is sitting here are really, really excited and waiting to hear a lot of things from you.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
we can go straight ahead. But before that, a very good evening and if I say good night, then it's all over. So
Maybe we can do it in the end.
yeah, probably. But then thank you all for your patience because it took us a long time to be here. Yeah, it was almost say about probably an hour and 45 minutes for us to reach from where I was. I was obviously heading the Cricket Association, Karnataka State Cricket Association as the president, and there was a match going on, and then we left before the match got over, but still it took us a long time to reach here. So that's the traffic. Can't complain. But I would all like to thank you. I would like to thank you all for your patience, for waiting for this long, and also it's getting pretty late in the night. I'm sure you all would be hungry as well because there's just the dinner being cooked right behind you guys. But otherwise, it's been fantastic to be here at the Global Institute of Business Studies.
Global Institute of Business Studies.
Fantastic. And for this IRE conference.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that's all right. We Bangaloreans are kind of used to the traffic. So we were expecting that delay. So that's all right. We were very well prepared.
I'm sorry about that again.
That's all right.
Apologies. Yeah.
That's absolutely fine. So you watched the match?
No, when you're in a position, where I am, it's going to be very difficult to watch because there's so many things happening.
Yeah.
So, it's very difficult to sit down and watch the game and enjoy the game or analyze the game. Now I'm in a completely different spectrum. I'm more into administration now. So, gone are those days where I was a player, a coach, where I used to think about my own self, being a player, and as a coach I used to think about the other players in the team, working out on strategies and understanding each other, understanding their strengths and weakness. But now, being on the other side, that is administration, it is a vast field. So there is, so much that one can do being an administrator. As a player, I was thinking about myself. As a coach, I was thinking just about the team. But as an administrator, I'm telling you, you can do so much more. Be it infrastructure or the processes we have been hearing, or the systems and so on. So putting everything in place, I think it's a huge responsibility.
Absolutely, I'm sure everybody would agree with that. But then let me ask you one question. So now that you just said you are now an administrator, so as the president of KSCA, what do you think is leadership all about? And do you think your past career, the cricketing career, do you think that has shaped up the kind of a leader that you are today, or the administrating skills that you have today? And if you have any tips and tricks, because I am now an administrator as well, so if you could give some leadership lessons and tips and tricks to all of us here.
Look, there is no one particular formula, I would say. You just got to go with your with your understanding about your own self. So I guess I was cut out to be a coach. I mean, obviously a player, of course, yes. I started as a player, but then later on, as a coach, I was cut out to be a coach. I was read the game, read the players, read their strengths and weakness, and probably also cut out to be an administrator, because an administrator as a leader, I would say you got to listen a lot. Yeah, you cannot just come to conclusions or be seated on the throne of judgment or something like that. You got to listen a lot.
Yes.
I think that's one skill which I think a lot of us don't have in terms of listening to others.
And can I say patient listening?
Yeah, you just got to keep listening, and probably just don't jump into any conclusions, I would say. And also, being a leader is about inclusivity.
Yeah.
You got to include everybody who are with you, and got to take them along.
Correct.
It is not just your decision. Probably, I think even if it is coming from somebody who is much below you, and it's good, I think you need to then take it.
You ought to
Yeah,
acknowledge,
you
yeah.
got to appreciate that, and you got to take it. So there's no ego there in a position of being a leader. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things, and also I think one has to understand their strengths and weaknesses as well. What you're good at, what you're not good at. Not good at something, then might as well listen to someone else who is good at that particular aspect. I think that is what leadership for me is all about.
So it's about learning every day, learning from others
Absolutely,
every day.
you keep learning. Just before I started this being an administrator, during COVID, I had a lot of time on hand, and I said, okay, I've finished my playing career. I've been a coach of the Indian team. I've been a coach of a lot of franchise in the IPL, the Royal Challengers Bangalore team, and Chennai Super Kings, and of course Punjab Kings for a year. I've also headed the selection committee. So then I was thinking, what next? What should I be doing? So as you rightly mentioned, learning never stops. You got to keep on learning, and that's when I said, okay, I think I need to probably do a course on the sports management.
Alright.
And that's when I enrolled myself in post-graduation in international sports management from University of London, say about 4-5 years back during COVID. And it was all online then. It was not much of an offline because of the COVID and travel restrictions and so on. And that was a real eye-opener for me, doing my post-graduation in international sports management. And now all those what I studied during those 1 year, I had to do four subjects, two main subjects and 2 elective as well. So it was wonderful, and now I'm bringing all those things, putting all those things to use now.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
So
wonderful.
you keep learning. That's what I mean. Yeah.
And that's what we believe here at GIBS as well, that
Okay.
learning should never stop. Every day should
Absolutely.
be learning. It's not just the students who learn, but we are learning as
Absolutely,
well.
absolutely.
Yeah. So let me take you back to the memory lane.
Okay.
And I'm sure everybody would be wanting to hear that. So I would be talking about your 1996 Cricket World Cup quarterfinals,
Okay.
wherein Pakistani cricketer Mr. Amir Sohail, I think he hit a boundary, right? And he kind of taunted and teased you to fetch the ball for the next one. And I think next one he was bowled, right? You made him leave the pitch. How does that feel? What was the feeling back then there on the pitch, and how does it feel now today when you look back in time? That feeling there, the emotion there on the field, how does all that feel to you, and any experiences in learning those days in the past bring you today?
Wherever I've gone, I've been asked this question, and in fact it happened in '96, so now we are in 2026, and it's been 30 years.
Still remembered.
And every single day, from that time onwards, every single day, people have asked me this. Every single
Wow.
day, someone or the other asked me.
Wow.
Yeah, sometimes it just could be one person, or sometimes it could be 10, 15 people who ask me the same question on a particular day. So every single day, this question has been asked to me. See, one is what happened on the field, but I think more than that, what is probably more than that is there are quite a few corporate lessons, I would say. Like being in the moment.
Being in the moment.
Yeah, being in the present, being in the moment, or whatever it is. Yeah, so not being in the past or not being in the future. That's what being in the moment.
Yeah.
So why I say that is because you said he hit me for a boundary, and he showed us he pointed his finger to where he hit the ball, and then he pointed his bat towards where he hit me, towards cover point, if people can understand what the positions are in cricket, on the cricket field, cover point region. And he comes and tells me, I was in my follow through, he comes and tells me that he's going to hit me, that he's going to hit me there again, the next ball.
All right.
Okay, there was a conversation happening with 38,000 people in the stadium, and pretty much the same amount of people, say about 40,000 people outside the stadium. You all know how much, the attention it attracts if it is a Pakistan match, right? So, there was a lot of tension between two countries as well those days. And, there was a couple of words that was exchanged. And now when I'm going back, I have to bowl the next ball. So I have to start thinking, because I cannot live in the past.
Correct.
Okay, he's hit me, and he has told me something that he's going to hit me there again. And if I keep thinking about that, then I'm going to be completely messing up my next delivery that I have to execute. So whether he's going to do it or not, that's the future. I don't know.
Correct.
Right? So one is the past that has happened, and the future which I don't know, which I don't have anything in control. So what is in control is being here and now. Right? So all I said to myself is, just go there, just bowl your heart out, bowl that ball that you've been practicing every single day of your life to get there to that position of playing the international cricket, right? So that's your strength. So just back your ability, back your strength, believe in yourself. So that's what I did. So being in the moment and just backing my ability, backing my strength, and believing in myself is what I did, and the rest is history. So I think what is important is to being in the moment, not being in the past. Of course, you learn a lot going through a few things in the past, but not look too far ahead as well at the same time. So it is important to be in the moment and back yourself. Everybody has got their strengths and weakness. I think it's important to understand your strengths, work on the strength, make it super strong, your strength, and of course keep on working on your weakness as well. And everyone has got weakness here, some weakness or the other, but that cannot really take you back.
Correct.
So you got to identify your strengths, your strong points, and just keep working on it. And I'm sure you're going to succeed at some point.
I think very beautifully said, being in the moment. And before we moved here, there is another thing that you said is controlling your aggression. I think these two things are pretty much a very beautiful and an important message that you would want to give to us.
Controlled aggression is one more thing. I could have easily lost my cool when he hit me for a boundary, and then there was a couple of exchange of words. Then I would have lost my cool. Probably I would have gone and done something different.
Yeah.
So if I had not controlled my aggression, if I was not in that moment, then I wouldn't have, I couldn't have thought better, and probably I would have done something else away from my strength.
Correct.
Isn't it? So I think when you're calm and composed, you're able to think, and you can execute, you can be smart, and you need to calm your nerves.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this brings me to another question, Dr. Venkatesh. You carry a very calm composure. So how do you handle, I mean, in the past, how have you handled pressure while you were on the field, and especially as a coach, how do you guide, your teams? And now as a president, what kind of message do you give to youngsters of today? How do you handle pressure? And I'm sure our student at GIBS Business School, they would really want to hear some tips from you, because when we give them assignments, they have evaluations, they feel, God, we have so much of pressure. And I keep telling them this is nothing in comparison to what we would have done in our colleges. So anything that you would want to share with them? How do you handle pressure? Any specific tips, tricks, mantras you would have?
Look, everybody have got their own. I mean, you need to devise a plan, to handle pressure, and everybody handles pressure in different ways. For some people, they panic. Okay, but that's the way they deal with pressure. Okay, but then when it comes to delivering, they deliver well. Okay, but they look very panicked for others, but that's the way they deal with the pressure.
The positive stress, probably.
Probably,
Stress?
yeah. I mean, if you're calling in that way nowadays,
stress.
yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
positive. What? Sorry.
Positive stress, which we call stress.
Okay.
Stress, yeah.
I suppose.
Positive
Okay.
stress.
I have not come across these terminology, but then point is, yeah. I mean, so different people have got different ways of dealing with stress, and some listen to music to de-stress themselves. I would say probably a Sachin Tendulkar would do that.
All right.
Before going into bat, he would just keep listening to music. He won't be talking too much. He'll be standing, just be walking around a bit, and with his earphones. VVS Lakshman would do that, and a few people, they just don't say anything, just sit down and just keep thinking probably, and there's a few of them who will be pacing, and walking rigorously and not knowing what to do, so you got different kinds of people dealing differently, when it comes to pressure. If you ask me, I would probably, just be quiet, just analyze in terms of what my strengths, what my weakness. As I said, the SWOT analysis, I'm sure everybody knows about it by this time. And how I should be reacting as a person if I have been put in a situation, right? So it's always better to take a step back, because the pressure is going to be there everywhere. As you rightly mentioned, when there is an exam, everybody are stressed. And if there is a 10th board exams, the kid is stressed, parents are even more stressed, and so the 12th grade or whatever it is. Or even, for that matter, when a doctor goes into the OT, even he might be having that stress as well.
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely. Because there's a life on his, that he has to save. Yeah. Suppose if that doesn't work, how it's going to be, absolutely. Right? But for everything, you've got to be in the moment. You've got to be in the present. I feel you just got to trust yourself. You got to obviously prepare. There's no two ways about it. If you, as the saying goes, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Right, so you got to make sure that you prepare yourself, and take a step back when it comes to the crunch, the situation. Just make sure that the butterflies that is going on in your stomach is flying in a formation, and not allowing the butterflies to fly all around the place. Then you'll be tensed. So I think there's many tactics. But I think it's they who need to figure it out, I suppose.
You need to have your own strategy and your own quick fixes, probably.
Absolutely. There's no quick fix, I would say, but then you got to come out with your own strategy.
All right,
Yeah.
sounds great. So, looking back in time, Dr. Venkatesh, which points or moments in your career would you say were kind of a turning point for you, which probably made you, what you are today, or made you realize what great cricketer you are? So, any specific moments or any specific incidents that you remember, which you would like to share with our audience here?
Well, I wouldn't consider myself a great cricketer, because there have been many cricketers who have played much more, who have achieved much more. Um, but then with the limited talent that I had, uh, I feel that I have achieved something. It's only because that I believed in myself and I was pretty strong in my mind. Um, and I've seen a lot of them who are extremely talented but who are not able to make it to the next level only because they were probably not so strong in their mind. So you got to be mentally really strong. There's going to be a lot of failures as you go along in life. I mean that shouldn't stop you at all. You should just keep getting up and keep on fighting. So that's what I have learned basically. Yeah. So you got to keep on working. Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, I wanted to ask you this question itself that, as a cricketer, as a player, or as an individual as well, we all face some or the other setbacks, criticisms, in fact.
Of course.
How do you handle those criticisms? How do you make sure that you still rise up? And if you have any specific message for the students of GIBS so that they could learn from it and could understand that, okay, there would be criticisms in life, there would be failures,
Absolutely.
but then you have to keep, get going.
Absolutely. I mean, nothing should stop you, I would say. Criticisms, pressure, failures is all part and parcel of life. I think what is important is to learn from those failures, learn from those mistakes. And everybody makes mistakes, I'm telling you. Everybody makes mistakes. So you got to keep learning from them. And make sure that you don't commit the same mistake next time around. And probably what I would like to say is, when you retire to bed, when it's time to sleep, I think probably reflect back on the day's events, what has happened, what you have done. Did you do something good or something bad has happened, or maybe you must have lost your cool somewhere, or was it necessary, was it needed? So what are the things that I can carry forward, and what are the mistakes that I did today that I'm not going to repeat tomorrow? So probably reflect on those few points, few events that has happened during the day. And obviously you do fall asleep when you start thinking on those lines, and I'll guarantee you that you won't commit the same mistake, or maybe your mistakes would reduce quite drastically, next day. So I think it's reflection. It's just about knowing about what you have done, what is good, what is bad, and what you take forward.
Great. So thank you so much, Dr. Venkatesh. One last question that I have for today. So with all of our innovators, researchers, and entrepreneurs, the future budding entrepreneurs of GIBS that we have here, do you have any one last piece of advice or any specific message that you would want to give to the younger generation of today?
Well, look, I think the school, college days and all are over. So they are going out, away from the campus. And the world outside is completely different.
Absolutely.
You won't be spoon-fed, so you won't be getting those solutions, quick solutions. You got to find those solutions. If you want to make it happen, you got to find those solutions. And I'm sure you're all going to follow your passion. So I mean, if you want to follow the footsteps of your parents, so be it. But it should come from within, I would say. That's the message that I can give. Well, none of my family members were sportsmen, but I just picked up this game, and by God's grace, and of course there was a lot of effort that's gone behind my cricketing career. It's just that I followed my passion, and I committed to that. I was committed to what I want to do, and I enjoyed each and every moment of my career. I'm not talking about playing the international level. Just before that, I'm talking about to make it there. I committed myself to that, and I also started enjoying what I was doing. So when you follow your passion, when you start enjoying what you do, I'm sure it doesn't matter what you want to do. Not that everybody needs to become an engineer or an entrepreneur or a doctor or, I mean, there is huge opportunities in this world.
Absolutely.
So just follow your passion and commit to that.
Commit to that, yeah.
And be disciplined and dedicated and all those D's and everybody keeps talking about, but then commitment is the biggest thing that you need to do. You need to have. Thank you.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Dr. Venkatesh. It was wonderful interacting with you, and I'm sure our audience have a lot of takeaways from today's discussion that we had here. So thank you so much for being with us here.
Thank you.
And I would now want our MCs to take the event forward.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank
Nice
you so
talking
much.
to you too.
Pleasure having you here. Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you.